Hey, what's up, guys? So I noticed the 500-gallon propane tank smoker project is becoming a table, so thought I might make a video about the firebox today and get you guys moving forward if you started your project already. Or if you want to start your project. This might be a big, wide-eyed realization to a lot of people. This is very easy stuff to do. How to measure your firebox. Typically, you want to use a step below whatever tank size for the smoker chamber or the cook chamber is going to be. You want to use a step below for the firebox cut in half. So if you're building a 500-gallon propane tank smoker, you want to use a 250-gallon propane tank cut in half as your firebox. It's a pretty good ideal measurement, but not exactly quite half. And then if you're doing a 250-gallon smoker as the cook chamber, you want to go and get a 120-gallon propane tank as the firebox cut in half. So without further ado, let me get over here and in front of me, let me get set up and show you guys some industry secrets, how long the tank should be, and how to get a semi-perfect line all the way around the tank so that you can get cutting and, start mounting it up to your 500-gallon tank here. So without further ado, let's get turned around here. All right, guys, so we got our 250-gallon propane tank here that we're going to cut in half and use that half as the firebox on our build series here. First and foremost, you're going to need some tools before you measure this thing, and I wanted to talk to you about pretty much your pre-research before getting a 250-gallon tank to use as your firebox. So firstly, let's talk about what kind of firebox I'm doing. I'm doing a non-insulated firebox. It's just going to be this cut in half, and then it's got a big enough shell thickness that it can hold heat very well. It's pretty close to 3/8 inch thick, so I'm just using that. That's all it's going to be. Let's just put a big plate steel in this end, make a door for it, and there you go, firebox. It's very similar. It's actually exactly like Jeremy Yoder's on Mad Scientist YouTube channel. Shout out, Jeremy. Watch all your stuff all the time. You're awesome. So it's just like his. It's going to get burnt, and you're going to season it with Pam and, do all that fun stuff and, burn off all this paint. And, yeah, it works fine. For the southeastern states, for the southern states, period, you don't need an insulated firebox. It uses a little bit more wood than an insulated firebox, but it's whatever, man. The food don't care. I don't care. The wood don't care. I'm just cooking and doing a pit like I want to do. So without further ado, let's talk about pre-inspection stuff, pre-research stuff. You need to make sure it's going to be thick enough for whatever you're doing. If you're doing a non-insulated firebox like mine, you just want to use one of these, perfectly acceptable. They'll build and function right. Just need to make sure it's thick enough. All right. This was about 5/16 thick, 3/8, somewhere in between. Came out great. And I looked on here, I couldn't see it, so I had to drill in here to figure it out. Usually the tag plate will tell you all that stuff. 250 gallon is the size, shell thickness is, 0.25, whatever, whatever it is, 2 point blah, blah, blah. All the information is on here. It was very hard to read this one. Make sure you do your research. Shell thickness needs to be bigger than 1/4 inch, so 0.25. It has to be anything above that. It should be a large number, like 0.25, blah, 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 blah. Let me go over here to the 500 gallon and show you if we can even read it. So where's it at? Head thickness, there you go. That's like 0.25 something. And then on here, it should say the shell thickness, 0.2, what is that, 9.3? So make sure it's pretty thick. Make sure it's awesome if you're going to use a non-insulated firebox. So anyways, let's get to talking about how to measure this thing. You've got your shell thickness, you've got your tank size, needs to be 30 inches wide, 30 inches diameter, 250-gallon tank. Next thing, make sure this thing does not have lead paint. I'll put a link in the description, lead paint test kit. Just scratch it, you squeeze the tube, dab it, make sure it's good. Make sure it doesn't turn red. Round pipe tape measure. I'll put a link in the description for this as well. It's very important. You're going to use it to mark your line. A framing square, a metal one, a nice thick metal one. Some magnets, tape measure. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We want to find out the total length of this. There's a magic number on what it should be. All right, and that magic number is going to be, ta-da, 45 inches. Right here, drew a little line. 45 inches at bare minimum is how big or long you want this firebox to be. And that is a very industry standard measurement, okay? Minimum. I went over about a 1/2 inch extra because I wanted to not be at the minimum. I wanted to go over as much as I could, but ideally you want to be at 48 inches in total length. And how you figure out 48 total inches is first you need to figure out how big or how long this cap is. So that's why you got your framing square here. Put it down there at the end, get it held up with some magnets, put it right here. And you need to come up with a reliable spot on the tank that you can measure from here to here, you know, whether it's the inseam of the weld, the outer seam, or the center. And if you can see right here, there's kind of like some little lines drawn on the center of that weld. That's what I'm gonna use. So I measure from the head to the inner weld seam, about 8.5 inches. And then I go from here to here and do however many inches I need to equal to at bare minimum 45 inches or 48 or whatever. So for me, let me put down the camera. So for me, I go from the center of the weld over here to about 37 inches. And I try to do this as best as I can. It's not going to be 100%. You're going to put up a big piece of plate steel on this thing and it's going to be off a little bit here and there. But I promise you, if you shave that down and you start welding on that and you get it all the way matted up, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Anything about a 1/16 of an inch off, the food is not going to care. Just build this thing, have fun, enjoy it. But like I was saying, 37 inches over here plus the 8.5 that I have over here comes out to be 45.5 inches. And how I do this is I just go in here. Let me get a marker. You go in here and you're at your 37. The best ideal thing to do is, as close as you can, do a triangle. A nice little arrow, all right? And you go and do a triangle. And you keep measuring all the way down as best as you can till this thing gets to the point where it's gonna fall off. And you know what you do? That's right, you roll this sucker over so you can start back on the top. Or you take and use some of these magnets. I've used these before. If I can get this set up without everything falling. Take and put the magnets right here on the side so it can hold your tape measure up. Let me see if I can get it set up for you. All right, so you got your magnet here, you got your magnet here. So that thing's holding it up there. And then you're like, all right, cool. I got my 37 right there. It's not quite exact, but you get the drift. And then you come up here and you do your little point. You do your little mark. Pipe welder common thing right there. So once you get all these points or your lines or whatever written on here all the way around, then you take your round pipe tape measure thing, you get it as close as you can, put some magnets on here all the way around so it'll hold it very still. And you draw that line. It's very simple. And then on the other side, you roll it, you do the same thing, mat it up to the original line that you drew first, and then you're good to roll. Guys, I hope this video helped you. I probably won't show you how to cut this thing in half. I mean, it's pretty standard procedure. Grab a plasma cutter, grab an oxyacetylene, grab a angle grinder, just cut it in half. Just get to it. I probably will show you how to pretty much do the 20-inch circle and mount that up to the cooking chamber. That might be a little bit more essential, a little bit less information out there about that, but mark this bad boy, cut it in half, good to roll. Guys, y'all take care. These videos probably won't come in order. There might be something else coming after this, before this, so on and so on. So hang with me. Build series is on a roll. Y'all take care. See y'all later.